Hello everyone and welcome to Zappy Productions. This is the latest earphones from 7Hz, the latest IEM. This is the 7Hz Aurora from, I got it at Canjam Singapore. I'm very lucky because they only have 2 sets on sale. This is not supposed to be sold globally yet. They just so happen to have sets for the show itself, for sale itself, and I got my hands on it. You can try at Canjam Singapore if you were there in the last few days, and they had on display 2 sets too. This earphone to me was special. The tuning was different. It had a more, cleaner, brighter tuning for the mids and the highs, while not having sibilance. Yet the bass is still super strong and punchy, so it's like high clarity, punchy sound, which is quite unlike the usuals. I mean, today the more common tunings for especially the lower IEMs to the mid-range IEMs are these. I'll say it's very punchy bass, quite a bit of sub bass, warmer tuning, more bodied. While these are like airy, big, totally different. I mean, all of them had treble extensions. Some of them got weird treble picks. This one doesn't have it, yet it still feels very airy, very big. The treble instruments are very clear without being like irritating. So very nice signature to me, and I got it on the spot. Now the pricing, my understanding is that it's about 400 USD, but if you get it at a show, it had a 15% discount because Linso was selling it. So those who are lucky enough to try it out and request to pre-order, you will have got a discount too. Me and my friend got the first few production sets, so I'm keen to just open up, show it to you, and of course do a better impression because show environment was very noisy. There was I would say there's no other way to try this earphone before Canjam. So without wasting time, let's open the box. Okay, the box is finally open. Now let's take a look at what's inside. So this is the 7Hz case. Now I have never bought a more expensive 7Hz before. I tried the Timeless and I also bought the 7Hz 02, but that is like the budget 7Hz, so I don't think it's comparable when it comes to things. I cannot grab this case up. I mean, it's tight fitting. Maybe it's not meant to pull out anyway. So take it out from bottom. This is the case. This is the tips. Okay, this is the things that are in the case. This is the box. This, I believe, is some accessories, and this is the tips. So let's take a look at inside one by one. Now, this is the IEMs. This is the Aurora. Now, you notice Aurora has a really nice plate. According to them, this is Damascus steel, so every single Aurora looks different. I mean, it's quite a cool touch. I mean, for IEM that is not costing thousands of dollars, it does have a unique plate that makes every single IEM look slightly different. The IEM itself is not very big, as you can see here. This is, to me, a mid-size, not very heavy too, definitely on the lighter side. You can feel that the plate on top is metal, it's cold, while the rest of the shell is plastic. And you can take a look at both sides for this. Now, I believe that to use this case, you probably have to separate the cables out, which is kind of stupid. Maybe not. I probably need to figure out how to use this case. Definitely, this is not a good case for traveling. I mean, this is a good case for protecting the IEM with the cables outside here, but definitely not a case to be used day to day. Okay, so let me just take out the IEMs because I will utilize it later. Now, this is the tips. According to them, these are the newer tips. So you can see this is the tips itself. This is the rounded type, and this is the insertion type, the small tips. Now for me, I only can use small tips because anything else feels a bit big for me. So I will just change to the small tips first. Let me try with the newer tips that they have. This is the newer ones. It's a bit squarish in nature, and they say that it does improve the sound, so I'm not too sure. The cables they gave looks quite good if you honestly ask me. I mean, I I like this cable a little bit more than Variations one. Variations cable was very thin and very hard to see which side is which. This looks good. This looks really nice. Now this comes also with the interchangeable heads. So you can see that this is interchangeable heads, and it can change to 4.4 or 3.5 here. So for today's test, I will try with 4.4. And to put it in, I see that they have a slit here, so you cannot randomly put it in. You just have to rotate it till it goes in and it clips in there nicely. So it's a very nice cable. Overall, I think this is a very nice cable. During the show, we actually tried a few cables. In fact, they had one of these Chinese maker there. Forgot what his name, I think is Yongse. Yongsi, I think. Yes. So he have a shop in Taobao. And every single cable does sound slightly different with this earphone. It's just a unique experience. I mean, normally earphones don't have so many different variants with every single cable, but this earphone for some reason has. Maybe it's the driver configuration, not too sure. It does change the experience. Don't know whether is it a look or not. Maybe one day when I have time to do some blind tests, I would try it out. As you can see, this is how it looks like after, plugging in or in. Very nice Damascus steel. Okay, and this is it for setting it up. So now I will set up my players. So for this impression, I will use my M17 drive into my Mass Kobo, which so far sounds one of the best for IEMs. And then I'll drive the IEM itself, which is this one here. And then I'll play a few songs, have a first impression. I will not be doing comparisons today, just purely impressions, and we'll see how it goes. So I like to listen to Ado a lot, so the first thing I'll listen is Ibarra here. So Ibarra will be my first song, and let's try it out. So my first impression with the song Ibarra is that, firstly, Ibarra is very prone to sibilance. Ado's voice for this song, very prone to sibilance in many earphones. This earphone, the Aurora, has no sibilance at all, and to me, who is very sensitive to it, fantastic. Now there's also bass in this song, but Ibarra is not known to be a track with very strong bass. With this earphone, the bass is like really refined and impactful still. Surprisingly, still a lot of quantity in bass, and I don't know how to feel. It's like clean, very clean, punchy bass throughout the entire song. And the sub bass, the feeling, the warmthness is also there. The vocals of Ado is like pushed slightly forward too. So I really love this particular track with this IEM. Now the next thing, I'll try another Ado track, which is Backlight. Okay, now for this particular song, which is Backlight from Ado, I did notice that there's a lot of cymbals in this song. It's always there perpetually throughout the entire song. I would say the treble is distinct. You can hear it. It does have a little bit flavoring to it. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's not like the most accurate or neutral sounding treble. That's how I put it. But it's there, and it's very clean, very precise, and never congested. The bass in Backlight is also quite punchy. It is always beating, and with this IEM, the Aurora, it's also very consistent throughout the entire song. The beats are very strong and nice. Now the vocals are also forward without being warm. It's like neutral sounding vocals for the Backlight, using the Aurora here. So very nice. Now I will try something else, a little bit more acoustic in nature. Let me try The Witch from Mercury. Now, The Witch from Mercury gave the impression that this is a really big sounding IEM with very good positioning in the terms of the instruments. I would say as the soundstage was like wide, but it doesn't have much depth. The depth is limited, but the width is wide and the positioning is accurate throughout the width. So I think this is still a very good showing for IEM. Many IEMs are just sound like in your head. This sounds actually outside your head, or at least beyond your ears, and it's like nicely spread across. First impression was really good. I mean, in fact, you know what? I said that I didn't want to compare, but let me compare. Give me a moment. So for comparison, I'll be comparing to the Variation, which is very similar in pricing. I mean, I think this is like 100 USD more, or 150 USD more, so it's quite close. So let's have a comparison here. So I actually did a comparison between the Variation and the Aurora here, and I tell you that the difference is there, and it's so clear that I think if you, depending on which parameter you like, you will straight away find the earphone of your choice. Firstly, I think the Variation does have a bit more sub bass, a bit more body to the sound. It's like a bit more, there is more like meat to the sound itself. That's how I put it. That being said, the treble extension, not as great as the Aurora. It feels like the instruments are just not as clear, especially if it's a treble instrument, and the air in the female vocals, there's this chanting part of it, the Aurora does it better. And then when it comes to the bass, the quantity of the bass, I would say as the Variation has more. It also has a stronger impact to it. But the controlness of the bass, how controlled the bass is when it slams down, the Aurora is better. It's like a cleaner bass, slams really quick, very cleanly, and you know, the texture is there. It's really nice. The details and the texture in the bass, I would say as the Aurora does push it a bit more. And when it comes to the mids itself, the vocals, if you are into the bodied sound, smooth vocals, Variation. But if you are in the airy type of vocals that you want to, like for chanting, for females especially, you want the airy sound, the more lighter touch to it, and a bigger sound, the Aurora. Now, talking about bigger sound, the Aurora soundstage is definitely bigger. Like, bigger. Significantly bigger. But that said, the Variation has more depth. So I said that Aurora has like more width. It like goes very far apart, and the positioning is damn good. The Variation has some depth, but the width is significantly smaller, and the positioning not as good. It's like musics are playing in like blobs everywhere, while the Aurora is very clear. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. So that's the difference. If you ask me from the technical perspective, it sounds like the Aurora is more technically better. While the Variation is a more pleasing to listen type, especially if you like the bass and the body. But if you're not in the bass and body, you're in like anime music like me, female vocals, you want a light touch to it, haunting sounds, I also want to put it away, Aurora is way, way, way better. And if you just want soundstage, the Aurora beats the Variation. So if you're in the soundstage, the Aurora is better. Now this is really big deal. I mean, the Aurora feels like more technically competent. It feels more controlled. It feels like it has bigger soundstage, better control, overall more extended sound. And if you are into the more neutral, cool stuff, Aurora is better. Well, if you are into thicker body, more bassy, a little bit more warmth, more sub bass, Variation. So it's quite clear how to choose between them, and which you choose depends on your sound genre. I mean, if you are listening to orchestra, like just now I was listening to Wish of Mercury, the orchestra track, I think the Aurora beats the Variation. While if you are listening more to male vocals or jazz, maybe, or maybe even EDM, I think this one may be better because the bass, the impact and power of the bass is really there. So it's very clear that 7Hz has outdid themselves again. I mean, the Variation is like one of the best IEMs I tried. Very useful for everything. Well, now the 7Hz Aurora is actually my new benchmark for mid-range because it has a huge soundstage. It is very technically competent. It is slightly neutral, cool sound. So a little bit more airy stuff. Yet it doesn't have any sibilance at all. It's like interesting combination, and the bass is so controlled. A lot of bass, yes, a lot of bass, but lesser than the Variation. So to me, I love this. I mean, if you have seen my Canjam video, I say I love the Monarch 3 over the Monarch 2 because of the same kind of difference. A more extended treble, a little bit brighter, yet the bass is a bit more tame but very controlled. This is the Aurora. It does it. So it's like, this is like the Monarch 2 equivalent, and this is like the Monarch 3 kind of comparison, if you ask me. So I'm stoked, and I'm impressed. For for this price range. If you ever can attend Canjam, do try it out. I mean, Canjam Singapore is over. There's Canjam Shanghai now, and then other Canjams around the world. Do try it out from Lin So booth, I believe, 7Hz, and get a good discount of it, because if you can get a discount, this is a steal. I mean, I bought this at a brand new price, lower than my variation at a second hand. This is my variation at second hand. So the second price of variation is actually higher than the Aurora first hand, of course, from a trade show price. If you are buying from the website, it is pretty, I would say it's cost a bit more. I mean, 400 USD converted to Sing dollars after shipping, taxation, about 600. So it's about $100 lesser than a variation. $100+ lesser than a variation, but you know, the sound quality is, I'll say, as technically better, just different. But between choosing them, I think it should be more of a sound genre. So this is pretty much my first impression of the 7Hz Aurora. It is a beautiful IEM, especially with the plate. I mean, sure beats the variation in terms of looks. It is a little bit bigger than the variation, so you notice the size. Cost cheaper, but technically better. And if you're not into bass that much, this is, if you ask me, a more competent device than the variation itself. Overall, it's a nicer cable too. So overall, I think that this is a good purchase if you are into this kind of sound signature, which is slightly less bass than the variation, a bit more clarity, a bit more treble, lesser body, bigger soundstage. That's the difference. And if you ask me, this is unique and definitely something worth to get. So do look out for the 7Hz Aurora, which is launching soon. I'm not getting anything out of this advert. I'm only just helping them because this is like the first few sets in Singapore, and I have to thank them for it. So definitely give it a try, and maybe you enjoy it just like me. This may be the better IEM at this price point. That's why I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.